Hi, everybody. It's Lorenzo Sanford with Astrologic Astrology, the astrology of I am. We are now in 2025 and it's a full moon. We are in the first full moon of the new year and it's the full moon in Cancer. The sun is in Capricorn, the moon is in Cancer. And this full moon is pretty potent because it is conjunct the planet Mars. So we have to ask this question: how will you deal with the heat? Because Mars is bringing fiery energy to the Cancer full moon. And obviously we're facing that in the world, especially on the West Coast of the United States, where these unprecedented massive fires have been affecting everyone. However, this is not just the people on the West Coast who have to deal with this. In this full moon, everyone is having to deal with the question of how will they handle the heat? How will you process emotional disruptions? How will you process being extremely vulnerable? How will you process your buried emotions that are coming to the surface? And so how you process this is going to determine how you are experiencing this time period when the moon is bringing these culminations, bringing things to a head, to a peak. So you're going to have to learn to process either by releasing and allowing, or learn by the challenges that come from blocking and resisting. And I think it'd be more healthy if you would take the former approach rather than the latter, meaning allow yourself to release when you feel something that needs to come out and don't suppress it, meaning allow other people to express what they are feeling and don't try to suppress them. And then finally, to see yourself as a part of a larger cycle. We've all been through cycles like these before, and we will get through this particular time just as we have gotten through other challenging times. And make no mistake about it, this is a challenging full moon because of that very volatile Mars energy. But as I say, the question is, how will you handle the heat? So now we're going to look at how each sign is going to be challenged and hopefully find ways to resolve this question of how to handle this intense energy. Okay, let's jump in and start at the beginning of the tropical zodiac with the sign of Aries. Aries, you want to move ahead and continue with the projects that are important to you. However, the full moon is in your fourth house and it is calling you home to deal with matters of family and matters of emotional vulnerability and matters of property. You've got to take care of things that perhaps may feel like they are blocking you from being the fullest expression of yourself or the fullest desire you have right now. But it's a necessary time when you have to allow for the fact that there are things that have to be addressed on the home front, and specifically with the people in your inner circle, their emotions, their feelings, the things that they're going through that may not always be rational and that you may not appreciate all the time, but nonetheless, these are the people in your environment who make up the core of your life. And so you have to give some time and some energy to them. And you have to learn to not react if they are acting out, because as I said, this is a hot time. It's a very vulnerable time. It's a very potentially explosive time if people are not allowed to express what's coming up on the inside. So Aries, you have to take that courage that you normally have and apply it to the direct emotional energy that you're receiving from the people in your environment. If you can do that, then you can help transform and create new energy by allowing the old energy to come up and out and to dissipate. I know you're up for the task, and all you have to do is take some deep breaths, maybe do some exercise, find ways to release the tension inside of yourself, whether that's through whatever your modality is, if it's yoga, if it's running, if it's weightlifting, if it's walks, if it's whatever you need to do. You might need to go to the firing range, but handle your business and then help other people releasing their emotions. Let's move on now to the Taurus tribe. Taurus, it's your time to communicate and speak. Speak what's on your mind. Don't hold it back. The full moon is in your third house. You've been holding on and repressing and keeping your thoughts to yourself for too long, Taurus. Let it out. And let people around you have their say too. It may be difficult for you to both let what you have been holding back out and also allow the people around you to express what they've been holding back, because you are prone to want to keep it really simple and not become entangled in chaos. And sometimes communication is just simply messy. And with the full moon in Cancer, conjunct Mars, this is a time when communication can feel and seem messy. But it's okay, because ultimately it's bringing a clearing, and it's bringing a form of clarity as long as you can release what you have been holding back and do it in a way that shows that you ultimately want to have stability, which is your natural desire. But you can't have stability, Taurus, if the circumstance is one-sided. You have to be willing to allow it to be a mutual exchange. If you can allow for a mutual exchange, then you'll find yourself releasing things that may have been so pent up that they caused you physical discomfort. And once you allow the things that you've repressed to come out, there will be a softening in the air around you. There will be less need to be defensive and less need to put up walls, because you'll find that people are feeling at ease, knowing where you stand, and also feeling at ease because you've allowed them to express where they stand. So Taurus, you are naturally poised, and you can be sometimes stubborn. And this is a time to acknowledge that other people feel things just as you feel things, or have a need to express things. And if you can allow that, then this will be a time when you can be a buffer for a lot of the chaos that's going on around you. All right, Gemini. The full moon in Cancer is falling in your second house. So you've got some fluctuations around your finances that you have to process, and your values and your sense of your self-worth. So how will you process these fluctuations, Gemini? Are you going to just talk and gossip and find ways to trivialize the issues that are coming up, or are you going to engage in meaningful dialogue? You are able to talk your way in and out of things with ease, but there is a great need for you to bring yourself to ask, what do I feel about this? And how do these feelings impact my environment? So what do I feel about what I'm earning? What do I feel about what I am, my self-worth? What do I feel about what I bring to the situations, the circumstances of my life? What is the value that I bring? And how do I really feel about that? Because if you're always thinking about it and you're always in your head, you may not be connected to how your behaviors, your attitudes, your thoughts are affecting the people around you. And people may not have a clear picture of who you are because they don't know if you're just saying something or if you really mean it and you're connected to it in a deep way. So Gemini, I encourage you to think a little bit, but then go beyond the thought process and go into your heart space and ask yourself, how do I feel about what is going on around me? And how do I translate that into a way that I can make a difference? And how can my values be supported by heart and mind? So give yourself the opportunity to trust yourself. Give yourself the opportunity to move from a cerebral place into a heart-centered space that allows you to connect both so that you're more balanced. And then if you find yourself in circumstances that are fluctuating, especially with your finances, don't just talk your way through it. Ask yourself, what are some goals that I can put in place that reflect my truest sense of value? And how can I help other people understand their truest sense of value in a volatile time? You certainly have the ability to process this and to communicate whatever it is that whatever conclusions you come to, and you should allow yourself to do that, as I said, with both your mind and your heart. Cancer, it's your time. The full moon is in your first house. So you get to express all that emotion you've been holding on to. You get to finally exercise that empathy. You get to finally show where your heart is and be proud of the fact that you are a person who is caring and nurturing and a provider and a container for other people. The only thing to be careful of with this full moon and Mars in Cancer is that you don't expect other people to respond to you because you are because of expectation based on what you have been giving. Cancer can sometimes give so much that they don't realize that they are giving because they need. And so now you can be in this space where you can say, yes, I'm giving and I want to share with you. So that means I will allow you to share with me what you will, not what you want, Cancer, but what the person or the people will, what they will share, not what you demand. That's a very important distinction that you have to keep in mind because, as I say, with your strong, nurturing, and empathetic qualities, you're always giving, but you're not always as clear about the fact that you really need. And so with this full moon prodding you to express yourself more openly, you may find yourself in a situation where you kind of snap and go overboard because you didn't realize how much you really need, how much you desire to have connection and a sense of people supporting you and giving back to you in the same way that you give to the people around you. So just try to find the balance where you express yourself fully, you express yourself in your heartfelt way, and you allow the people around you to express themselves in their own way, not in the way that is most comfortable for you. This is a good time for you to start the year with empathy and understanding and nurturing. And if you do that, then you will be opening the door, creating a pathway for you to have a strong year where people know exactly who you are, exactly what you feel, and they feel safe expressing how they feel back to you. All right, let's move on to the Leo tribe of the zodiac. Leo, you are used to getting the attention and you are used to drawing people into you, and you're used to being the source of the energy in the room. All of that because you were ruled by the sun. However, there is another side of you, and it's coming out now in ways that maybe you may be unsuspecting of, because the full moon is in your 12th house. So there are secrets that are going to be revealed, and there are going to be things that come out in the open that have been hidden and closed off. So are you willing to allow for parts of yourself that you normally keep under a tight grip of control by being the center of attention, by being, the person who draws other people in and captivates people with your charisma? There is a whole nother underside that is happening now that people don't normally see. And it may be surprising to you that these things slip up. It's like the time of subtle things that you say, subtle things that you do that show that you are more vulnerable than people think you are, or that you're not as certain or as confident as you normally present yourself. And it's all okay. It's all okay if you can allow yourself to just be this human who sometimes can be frail, who sometimes can be extremely sensitive, who sometimes can be questioning what's going on. In fact, this is the time to search your spirit and to perhaps be alone and to find solace in contemplation, so that you're not actually out in the world holding up a facade when you really don't feel like it right now. So can you allow yourself to sort of retreat from your normal upfront energetic stance and allow yourself to just sort of step back for a while, even if it's for a few days, and just allow yourself to reflect? You don't always have to be the center of attention, and you can find a renewed sense of purpose if you allow yourself to step back, contemplate, search your spirit, maybe even fast, and allow yourself to have a reset in your mindset. It can be a good time for you, but you have to allow for your spirit to have some space as opposed to your personality. Virgo, the full moon is in your 11th house. So you may have some experiences with friends, and you may have some experiences with your goals and your aspirations that are challenging, but also liberating, if you can allow for there to be some changes and for there to be some fluctuations. You are very analytical, as you know, and you are always processing the small things, but the full moon is going to challenge you to have a big picture perspective and see how your ideas and the things that matter to you can affect the greater good, the larger social circumstance, the larger concerns in your environment. If you can implement your ideas in a way that is useful to many, then you are using this energy in the best possible way. If you stay focused on the details and the small things, then you will find yourself being irritated because people may not be as receptive to you right now. So you have to ask yourself, how can I express myself in a way that brings more agency to a larger group of people? That's the challenge for you right now. And it's also a time for you to ask yourself, how am I living out the goals that I have set for myself? Where do I need to change? Where do I need to open up and allow new energy? And where are there disruptions that are showing me that I should recalibrate some of the things that I have thought that I wanted to do and move more in line with something that makes me feel connected to a greater whole. No one is an island, and you have to find a way to employ all of the things that the skills that you have in a way that creates something bigger than yourself. And that's the challenge for you with this full moon in your 11th house. Allow your friends to show you something that you perhaps didn't understand, and be humble enough to acknowledge that they have something that they can offer you. And be humble enough to say you can incorporate what you learn back into the places that they come from so that you can sort of recycle the good energy. And so this is a good time for you to move forward towards the things that matter and the things that you aspire to, as long as you can include other people and purposes that are greater than your own. Okay, people, now we're dealing with people from the tribe of Libra. Libra, the full moon is falling in your 10th house. So this is a time when you have to be out in the world expressing empathy and allowing for your environment to pull out of you your heart so that you don't repress what you're feeling, and that you give other people the benefit of your knowledge. You give other people the benefit of the things that you know to be true, the things that you can communicate about comfort, about joy, about sustainability. You have to go out into the world and resist the temptation to go in and withdraw. There may be circumstances in your life where you feel overwhelmed because there's so much emotional energy around that you don't quite know how to keep your equilibrium. But the answer is in using your innate sense of being able to communicate ideas that bring people together and just share. Find ways to go out in the world and share. When it comes to your work, be careful not to overreact to your bosses and or authority figures, because you could find yourself being triggered. But you will, if you just remember that your purpose is to communicate ideas that bring people together, and that your purpose is to share, if you can focus on that, those two things, then whatever disruptions occur, you'll be able to process, and you'll be able to help others process through your innate and strong ability to communicate. Use your words, use your ability to soothe, use your ability to bring harmony, and spread it far and wide in as many places as you can in the world, and let that Libra energy be pervasive everywhere you go, so that you become a force for calm and overcoming as opposed to reacting. Okay, let's move on to the Scorpio tribe. Scorpio, you might be one of the few tribes in this full moon that could actually feel some relief, because the full moon is in your 9th house. So this is a time when you can be open to new perspectives, and you will be able to allow for those perspectives to impact you, and it won't be as challenging as it may have been at other times. The 9th house is where you grow and expand, and where you take on new approaches and are open to ideas that are transcendent. And so you might actually find this full moon in Cancer to be a time when you learn something that helps you grow and takes you to another level of understanding. That is, of course, if you can allow for these ideas to come in and not be stubbornly closed about holding on to your beliefs in a way that says that you know everything and other people do not. Hate to say it so bluntly, but Scorpio can become stagnant. It's a fixed water sign, so you believe what you believe, you know what you know, and as long as things are operating in that fashion, you feel comfortable because you're not threatened. But this is a time when, if you can just stretch a little bit, you will find that there are new things coming to your awareness that make you less stuck and make you more flowing. Scorpio is a water sign after all. And so when you are secure, you're able to be a source of courage and support and loyalty for the people around you. And you can sometimes lose touch with that when you want to hold on to everything out of your need to keep things safe and secure. But this is a good time for you. So allow new energy to come in the form of ideas that are bigger than the ideas you've been comfortable with and that you've been holding on to. It may feel disruptive, but it can be helpful and useful for you to expand your palette of ideas and your palette of awareness. And once you do that, then you can also take that and transform it into a language that works for you, and then give it back to other people to give them the same strength of purpose that you have. All right, let's move on to Sagittarius. Sagittarius, this is a challenging time for you. The full moon is in your 8th house, and the 8th house has to deal with your obligations to the people that you're closest to and the institutions that you're involved with. So you may have some issues around taxes that you have to address. You may have some issues around joint finances with people that you're close to. You may have some issues with property, and you may have some issues with sex. And with the full moon and Mars in that 8th house, there may be some challenges that have been building for a long time that now are coming to a head in a way that may seem surprising, but they're really not if you're honest. And the things that are coming up are things that have to be addressed so that there can be a reset for you and potentially for the people and the circumstances and the situations that you're involved with. It's a reset that can be really deeply transformative if you allow it, or it can be destructive if you resist and if you don't assist the process that is demanding to be addressed right now. So you have to make a choice about how you're going to accept the leaks that are showing up, and understand that the leaks are not just small things that can be plugged now. They are actual deeply held processes that are now showing you that you have to take some strong action towards correcting the issues so that they don't explode into deeper, more challenging issues. If you take the time now and process them and let yourself be guided by whatever is showing itself to you, and whatever's giving you a sense of needed change, necessary change, even though it may seem difficult, if you address it now, as opposed to trying to stuff it back down in a box or stuff it back down and into a place where it's not being handled. As difficult as it may be, it will be a time when you can transform these areas of your life and start the year off at least understanding where you have been challenged and where you need to be more focused to move forward. And with your bright, expansive nature, you always want to move forward, and you will. Okay, Capricorn, the full moon is in your 7th house. So you really, really have to be careful of how you're interacting with the people closest to you, your spouses, your significant others, your business partners, even your children, because this is a very, very volatile time when you may be shocked even when it comes to what people express to you that you didn't expect them to express. There is this whole mirror effect because the full moon is in your 7th house. So parts of yourself that you're not acknowledging are coming out in a mirror effect from the people closest to you. And so can you allow yourself to be the person who is projected upon without taking it personally? Because it's very likely that people will be saying things and doing things and reflecting things back to you that hopefully will not be hurtful, but will probably be very vulnerable and very emotional. And you have to know that there's a part of you that feels vulnerable and emotional that you don't always show. And the people who are expressing that to you are really giving you the opportunity to get in contact, get in touch with a part of yourself that you deny. It's a tricky, slippery slope, but you're capable of doing it. You're capable of handling it if you can just be giving enough in your heart and in your spirit, and not be your stoic, unresponsive, restrained self, because that is why people may be reacting, because they're getting that stern Saturnian self, and they're really reflecting that there's something else beneath the surface that you should trust, or you should try to allow to come out. So ultimately, it's a good thing for you if you can give yourself space to just be vulnerable a little bit. And certainly to be patient and understanding with the people who are going to be reflecting their own vulnerabilities to you. If you can do it, it will be a time when there can be really fresh air between you and the people you're close to. If you can't do it, it's going to be a little bit more challenging and possibly very volatile, because there's a tug of war going on, and what really needs to be happening is both sides taking accountability and working to find a balance. So do your best to open your heart and to trust that it's okay with the people who you're close to give them the benefit of the doubt and to share the deepest part of yourself. And now we have come to the Aquarius tribe. Aquarius, the full moon is in your 6th house of work and health and service. So life is calling you, the universe is calling you to ask yourself, how can I put my brilliant intellect into the service of humanity, into the service of the people around me and the systems that I'm involved in, the ecosystems that I participate in? How can I honestly allow myself and my brilliance to be a part of keeping things functioning and flowing in the most effective way? Aquarians, you are very analytical and you're able to process complex things, complex issues and ideas, but you can sometimes be aloof and keep those thoughts and ideas to yourself. And if people don't understand you, you're perfectly willing to just walk in your own lane, walk in your own space. But the full moon in the 6th house is asking you to employ some of your ideas in a way that can be helpful to others, and to consider the ways that you can be more effective in implementing your ideas in a practical, real world way. Also, the 6th house is the house of health, so you may have some health issues that you have to address, which doesn't have to be a major problem, but you should at least allow yourself to find out and investigate if there's something that comes up that comes to your attention. Then don't shy away from it. Let it manifest and do your best to investigate it so that it doesn't become an issue later on. But this is a time when you may have some awareness of some health issues, and you may have some issues with coworkers who are not necessarily understanding of the way you process things. So it's a time of adjustment for you. You have to adjust. You have to find ways to make compromises without selling yourself short, but also without making other people feel less appreciated than they deserve to be. Because not everyone is as brilliant as you, but everyone deserves to be respected. And so you have to find that balance. Okay, Pisces, the full moon is in your 5th house. So just like Scorpio, the other water sign, you may be one of the few tribes who can actually enjoy this full moon because it's in your 5th house of creativity and self-expression. You do have to be aware, though, that your children may have some challenges. They may be needy. They may be vulnerable. They may have some outbursts if you have children. And you may find yourself wanting to just break free and express yourself in an uninhibited way. And that's not a bad thing. Just keep in mind that just because you're feeling it doesn't mean everyone around you is feeling the same thing. So if you can keep that in mind, you should allow yourself to have some fun. And especially since Saturn is in your 1st house, this full moon in your 5th house in Cancer is a time when you can blow off some steam in a hearty way that brings you some joy and spontaneity. It's a time to express your heartfelt desires, your heartfelt energy, and allow yourself to connect with people in your most genuine way, because you will find that they will respond to you in their most genuine way if you allow it. And don't be bashful. Don't be shy about saying what you feel, what you think, what matters to you, because this is a time when if you reveal the parts of yourself that are authentic, then you will find people reciprocating in a way that brings a lot of satisfaction. And the only thing to be aware of is just that you don't go to excess with your feelings. You are a water sign, and you do have sometimes challenges with boundaries, but if you can just and with Saturn in your first house, you have probably been dealing with a lot of keeping yourself circumspect anyway. So I think this full moon in your fifth house is a time when you should just have fun and allow yourself to express yourself. Go to a play, do some dancing, do something related to sports. Find ways to just let yourself flow in a way that you haven't in a while, and allow this energy to bring up and out of you the fun side that you perhaps have had to keep under wraps for a while. You don't have to do that now. Just let it out, let it flow, and have a good time, with the caveat that you're respecting the boundaries of others. Okay, so that's the full moon in Cancer for all 12 zodiac signs, and with a specific emphasis on this time period being quite challenging because of the Mars energy that comes along with it, and the question of how can we handle the heat? How do we handle all this intense energy that is surrounding us right now? How can you be authentically yourself, and at the same time allow things to come up and out that need to come up, need to come out, and allow it with a purpose, allow it with a sense of being a part of a greater cycle, understanding that you have been through cycles in the past that may not have been comfortable, but you got through them, you processed them, and you're better for it. So you can allow yourself grace now, you can allow other people grace, and you can allow yourself some space to be able to process whatever comes up without feeling anxious. Let it go and let it flow. Let yourself be a part of the releasing of old energy so that new energy can come rushing in and creating new paradigms through the shifts that happen right now. I wish this is a time of peace and understanding and clarity for us all. And I pray for all the people who have been affected and impacted by the fires on the West Coast. And I affirm that we are all better when we work together, and when we are patient with each other and allow ourselves the benefit of our hearts. And so with this full moon upon us, let us be kind and be patient and loving towards each other. And if you need more personal guidance and you'd like to have clarity about your own life in more detail, you can contact us at astrologicastrology.com, and we'll be happy to work with you to bring clarity and definition and purpose to your life. Thank you, and namaste. The spirit in me recognizes and honors the spirit in you. Until the next time, peace.